Hello everybody, my name is Speedrun-77. I had last week TGH in my Speedrun Education podcast as a guest. We talked about many different topics like mentality, how to not get distracted, and also a little bit about practice. Practicing is definitely one of the most difficult questions to answer when it comes down to speedrunning because there's not a single answer to it. It can be so individual and everybody is different. It is quite difficult to answer. But we still talked about one method I just want to share because I didn't use it for such a long time when I was speedrunning, and I believe many of you aren't also using it. And by the way, if you're interested in my podcast, I stream it on my Twitch channel, and every Wednesday I will upload the episodes on my Anchor account, and I will also upload it on YouTube every Wednesday. Links are all in the description, and if you're here already on this YouTube video, just subscribe if you don't want to miss a podcast episode. But let's not talk about this. Let's actually talk about the topic of the video, which is the practice method. I haven't used that practice method in Celeste, which is my main game, for so long. Like for the majority of my time with Celeste, I never really used that method. But the moment I used it, I had much more control of my improvement. And it's actually nothing crazy. I won't explain you the most deepest shit here. I will be very, very basic. Everybody can utilize it. And it's like the core essence of speedrunning pretty much, because speedrunning is such a grind and such a progress. It is so simple and so obvious to do this, but nobody is really doing it. But let's actually jump in. I will switch now to a different camera angle so I can actually show it to you. So right now we are here in an Excel chart I have on my PC. What I did is whenever I practice a certain chapter, I write down my times. For example, I marked where my low points were, where my very good times are. And for example here, I write down how often I fail a specific trick. So you can do pretty much everything with that. When you want to get good at something, then you really have to play it a lot and you have to analyze it and understand it. For example, if you're playing a platformer, then play a certain level a lot and see where your average time is and where you want your average time to be. And with that, you have a simple game plan, you have a simple goal, and you know where you currently are in this current progress. And you can go much deeper at this if you want to. Teach, for example, in the podcast episode told me that he writes down where he dies, where his good movement parts were, and where his movement was bad. So he knows where he can improve on. Nowadays, he doesn't do it actually with a chart anymore because he got so good at it that this entire progress happens in his head. And probably for many of you, this progress also happens in your head. But what I simply want to tell you with this entire video is, if you want to get good at speedrunning, or if you want to improve yourself, you have to do these things, and these things feel very nasty and they are very slow, at least for me. When I was practicing, for example, my chapter 4 here from Celeste, each of these sessions where I finished the chapter like 25 times, they took me over an hour to do. Over an hour of gameplay is sitting right here. It can be pretty frustrating if you practice an hour just to improve your average by 2 seconds. I didn't really analyze too much into it. I knew which sections I was good at, I knew which sections I was bad at. I just want to improve my overall consistency. But if you have, for example, trouble in certain rooms, and this trouble and these mistakes happen over and over, no matter how often you attempt it, then you at least know where to practice. And many speedrunners, they want to become so good, but the only thing they do is full runs. That's actually me. That's what I was. I did so many full runs, but I never really put in the time to practice individual things. And that's why my progress stopped at a certain point. I was pretty good at Celeste and I improved very quickly in the beginning because I had the right approach in the beginning. When it comes down to become really good at a game, you need to do these things in some given way. And I don't say simply copy and paste what I do. Come up with your own ideas. Come up how you can analyze yourself the most optimal way, and you will find a solution for yourself. This is simply what I want to tell you. I got really inspired by TGH to do this myself again after I talked to him in the podcast. It was actually a really nice episode. I really enjoyed it. That's all I want to say to you. Practice your things, practice your game. Many of you do this, this is the most obvious thing, but not every one of you does it. And if you are one who doesn't do it, then tell me in the comments. Don't be ashamed of it. I speedrun Celeste for more than 1 year, and probably in the first 8 months, 9 months, I didn't do something like this. Probably even longer. I didn't do something like this. I was all about just learning new strats and then doing full runs. And my progress stopped very heavily at a given point. I want you to avoid this. I want you to have better progress in speedrunning. Tell me if you haven't done it till now. Tell me if you're already doing this, and do you have any other ideas or suggestions to help out other people or to help out me. I'm now going back to more Celeste practice since I'm enjoying it recently. I got very motivated from TGH. I hope you all liked this episode. It was a very different video than I normally do, but I still hope you liked it. So see you next time. Bye. I got it again.
Nice. You got it, Flash. Okay. Let's see how this goes. Woohoo!
I got the last room death cycle blindfolded or like invisible.
Yeah, almost.